Welcome back. We should be finishing up here with the Remez, the Allusions. I wanted to take a look at a few verses here that could help us decipher better the second paragraph of Genesis chapter 1. Finally, having one beloved son, he sent him to them. They will respect my son, he said. But the tenants said to one another, "This is the heir. Come, let us kill him, and the inheritance will be ours." So they seized the son, killed him, and threw him out of the vineyard. But Yahushua looked directly at them and said, "Then what is the meaning of that which is written? The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Everyone who falls on this stone will be broken to pieces, but he on whom it falls will be crushed." When the scribes and chief priests realized that Yahushua had spoken this parable against them, they sought to arrest him that very hour, but they were afraid of the people. "Why do you not understand what I am saying? It is because you are unable to accept my message. You belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out his desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, refusing to uphold the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, because he is a liar and the father of lies. But because I speak the truth, you do not believe me." And God said, "Let him exist a beaten work between the waters." And he became the one causing division between waters and waters. And God produced this beaten work, and he divided between the waters, which are in a place of substitution or submission to the beaten work, and between the waters which were in a place over the beaten work. And he existed such. And God named the beaten work heaven, and he existed diminishing light and light breaking through, a second day. I wanted to show you something about the verb yahi here. So in verse 3, it is imperfect, meaning it was in the past tense. Now I know these verbs don't have to have a tense connected with them, but generally, if it is in the imperfect and it has the vav at the beginning, that's going to flip it to the past tense. So this is let there exist, yahi, and this is and he existed, because there's a vav here. So then if we go to 6, just note that it's vav yod he yod. If we go to 6, it is vav yod he yod. The vowels are different, but those were added later, so it was the understanding that it's the imperfect, but in the jussive, maybe, I don't know exactly why just these vowels are here, but I'm just pointing out that it's the same consonants, so you could technically read it as and he existed a place or one who divides, and he causes this division between the waters and the waters. There's a couple things we can note here. Mitahath does not have to mean under. It could mean a substitute for, maybe even, I don't know if it would go as far as submission, but like the ram was substituted for Isaac. So a couple things to note is that whatever you intended to do for someone else, maybe you're a witness against them and that's proven false, that's what needs to be now done to you. Or whatever they actually did, then this is what needs to happen. Like the pit you dig needs to be where you fall. One little thing to note, this may just be something based on something not even true, but the Anunnaki were believed to have harvest Earth's gold, and the purpose of that was because where they lived, they couldn't live there anymore. They were like gonna die because the volcanoes were dying off, so they needed to grind Earth's gold very thin, throw it up in their atmosphere, and that would protect them from the light. The light was going to kill them. So to protect themselves, they turned the gold into like this white substance when you grind it really small, throw it up there in their atmosphere, and allow them to live. And so that was like a rakia for them. So um, then they get, I don't know if like they turn also maybe the one that they're attacking into a rakia. He becomes this, but being ground to powder, maybe that's a way of at least a part of their body joining together to form the substance of water. So maybe before they were these beings, and then it got separated, like the male from the female. They could have been male female beings, something, I don't know what, but like the heavenly part gets separated to go up above, and then the part that's going to be turned into water now is gathered together to make seas, like it gets bonded together. It's possible that all these things mentioned in verse 1 before day 1, before we get these specific details, they were not in a state as we know them now. What I'm still speculating about is, are both of these waters negative, like they just got separated so that they wouldn't kind of know their past identity, like the male from the female, or was one group of waters or beings good and one not good? In other words, to be under something could mean that they were willing to die in his place, or it's like that verse where I gave Cush for your ransom, where they're kind of taking the place of maybe what they intended to do, to grind the one to powder, or what they actually did. And so now they're the ones falling under. It might be kind of something like wheat separated from chaff. So the ones that fall down is like the heavier particles that fall underneath, and the more spiritual up above. Wherefore God also has highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. So it's like he goes there and he's causing this division between these groups, and it's distinguishing which is which ones are like just jealous and which ones rejoice with him to become these shining lights. Job gives us a clue. It says, when the morning stars sang together and the sons of God shouted, the singing together has to do with like being thankful for being saved, and the shout is like a battle cry because you're doing the attacking. So that makes me think that like the lights above could be like that inner godliness that is pure, that could have gotten separated because it's this physicality that we take on due to sin, this heaviness weighs us down, blinds us from God, leads us astray. And so that's deliverance from Egypt, why it's so necessary to put that army to death, where it would seem like a negative thing, but we're rejoicing when this happens because now we can finally be reunited with God, like to be in the heavens. So it seems like even if these like 7 wandering stars had sinned, that their klipas, their shells, or whatever was negative is what fell down, like the scales on their eyes. So like a serpent skin or something, that falls down, and so it's like it's a process of purification, because the kingdom of heaven is like 3 loaves of bread. It gets puffed up and then it gets pressed back down. So this could have been like one of the first rebellions, and so he has to go through a cleansing, and then it's going to get right, it's going to rise again, and it's going to have to get pressed down again because Satan falls out of heaven multiple times. And a third reason why like Satan being cast down to heaven, to earth, is because the 5th day, from the water, from the air, he's making these dragons, these large creatures. So like the serpent is coming from these waters that are down below, and then, coming into the garden. So he must be on earth at that time, and that's why God's kind of warning him to guard and to keep the earth. So, like, on one end, Lucifer is thought to be called a morning star, but then also Messiah is called a morning star. So I don't know if it's just like, once you are light, like he was that light at one time, and God has to keep restoring that light that's in him, maybe until there's only darkness left, like until it's that clear, or what. Anyway, maybe I think I just need to ramble because I just don't know how to do a short video. I just like to fill it up. Who knows why? But anyway, we only actually have a little bit left on this Remez stuff. So let's finish up verse 8. And he called. Here the verse informs us that these are the same heavens that were mentioned in the verse in the beginning, etc. And the reason that the first verse describes the name heavens to them is to say that there is here a creation that will be called heavens in the future, but really God did not call it this name until the second day. So he's probably saying, it'll be called heavens in the future, talking about the second day, but really verse 1 is like the world to come. So first he makes the heaven to come, and then he makes this existing world. And according to the words of our rabbis, who said that the understanding of Shamayim, heavens, is Sa'amayim, support the waters, the intention of this verse is according to the following way. And God called to the heavens and said, to support the waters, so that there will be space to make room for the creatures, so that the creatures will be between the heavens and the earth. And without this, there was no place for the dwellers on earth, until he called upon the heavens to support the waters that were laying upon the earth. And he told the lower waters to gather to one place on the third day, and the dry land appeared with this, such that there was now a place for the dwellers of the earth. And this is not a contradiction to the words of our rabbis that say that the upper waters are held up miraculously, since even if it is the case that the heavens support them, nonetheless, with regards to the set up nature of the skies and their order, they felt that they were supported by a miracle, as we have written on the verse, and he made. He supports the fallen, and if he didn't do this, we might not have free will. We would be overrun by evil, is one way that maybe we could look at this. Is there water on other planets? It does not say about the waters above that they ever came together to become seas or to be called seas. So it seems like whenever these heavenly beings come to earth, and they need to come in a physical form, or they'll take on a physical form, but it seems that like what is heavenly is more like a spiritual kind of fire or water, and that it all kind of has this soul that is seen. And on earth, God is more concealed with the physicality, so we wouldn't think God is in a rock, but really everything, I think, has like this soul, this life to it. But anyway, we will have to see what the Zohar and the Midrash has to say about these things as we continue to develop our theories and opinions on just what went on during this creation week. Thanks for joining, and be blessed.